So this is the Gamme 8 PC polycotton all packed up. So this is the tent and the 5 poles that go along with it. This is without the pegs that do come with it as a package. Nortent advertises this as 15.2 kilograms, but I just weighed it. I just weighed this bag without the tent pegs. It weighs 17 kilograms, which is about 37 pounds. So it's not light. I mean, it's relatively light for what it is for an 8-person tent. We'll talk about the 8-person tent a little bit later on how many people it can actually fit. But, you know, considering it is an 8-person tent, this is fairly compact. You wouldn't put it in a pack sack, of course. You know, you put it in a toboggan or car camping. And it is a 4-season tent. So the Gamme 8 PC polycotton, the same as the Gamme 8, it's about 7 feet tall. I'm just trying to figure the best setup for it. I'm also testing to see how well my Big Buddy heater heats it compared with a wood stove. Now, you'd be awfully cramped to get 8 people in here. You'd never get 8 people in the wintertime with a wood stove and all that stuff. But if you take a look at the Nortent website, I'll put the graphic up here. You'll be interested to see how they figure you can get 8 people in here. Basically, they pack them in like sardines. It's an all-season tent. It comes with, you can also get an inner tent, which reduces the size, and you can also get a floor. And I do have the floor. I haven't tried it out yet. With a hot stove, you can unzip part of it. So you can see the stove jack up there. And the stove will go about there by one of the entrances. So the stove will take up all this spot here. Now if you notice, it's got 2 entrances. Okay, and up here it's got 4 vents that you can open. And also on the sides it has 2 vents that you can also open. Now it's got this all the way around on the inside, and it's got sort of snow flaps, if that's what you call them, on the outside, which I'll show you in a minute. So it does have quite a bit of space. For 2 people it's going to be great. I mean, I intend to ice fish with it, so I would have it on the ice. And in that case, when it's just an overnighter, or even if I was only doing 2 nights, I'll probably just take the propane with me. I won't take the 20-pound cylinder. I'll take a 10-pound cylinder, and I may take a 5-pound cylinder as backup. Okay, let's go over a few stats on this this tent. First of all, this is the biggest tent that the biggest Gamme they make. It's the Gamme 8. There's a 4, 6, and an 8. And the 6 and the 8, I don't believe the 4, come in a polycotton, a PC version. And this is the PC version. The PC version, the polycotton, is slightly heavier than the polyester, whatever the other one is made out of. But this one breathes a lot better. And apparently it doesn't need any waterproof protection. Like some of the other tents, I believe every once in a while you have to treat them with some sort of water repellent. So this is a 4-season tent. Because it has a stove jack, of course, it's a very good winter tent. Now its height is, at the highest, 7'1". Now, because it's so tall, it is a hard tent to set up by yourself. Even watching the videos, I've set it up 3 times and I still don't have the knack. And before I take it anywhere, I'm going to make sure I know how to set it up properly and easily. It would be very difficult in the wind, and it also takes up, you need quite a bit of space to set it up because it's got 5 poles, which I'll show you in a while, and they are pretty long, so you need the space on the sides of the tent when you're manipulating these poles. So as I say, it's 7'1", and it's 14 foot across. Now this is a fairly heavy tent. It weighs 17 kilograms in the bag, which is about 37 pounds. That's the tent and the 5 poles. It comes with pegs. When I weighed it, I didn't weigh it with the pegs. Right now I'm using ice anchors, which I'll show you in a minute. So in the winter time, especially if I'm using it on the ice, I'll use ice anchors. Now this poly cotton, it's a hybrid fabric made of cotton and polyester, and according to Nortent, it's strong and breathable, and it can take a high snow load. Now a few nights ago it was very windy, so what I ended up doing is I put 8 snow anchors around it, and I also pegged the guy lines, and it didn't even move. My boat is covered in a tarp, and the tarp was just flapping away, and this thing wasn't even moving. So as long as you got it pegged down, it should be pretty good in the wind. It is a freestanding tent. So the good thing is once you've got it set up, it's quite easy to move around. I haven't slept in it for a full night. One night when I first set it up, I had the wood stove in here, and got it nice and toasty. The only thing is, with wood stoves, you have to keep them going all night, so about every hour and a half you have to restoke them, which can take a little bit of wood. So that's one reason why I'm going to test it with the Big Buddy heater, and I want to see how long, for instance, an 11-pound tank will last, because the 20-pound tank is a little bit too big to be carting around, but I figure the 11-pound on a sled won't be too bulky with the Buddy heater. But we'll see how all that works out. I was saying it's difficult to set this thing up by yourself. I watched all the videos. There's a special way to do it. The funny thing is, when you see other people setting them up, they've always got 2 people, and they always set it up differently than in the official Nortent video, because some guy will get inside and push up here, and it makes things a lot easier. But if you don't have anybody inside, it's a lot more difficult, especially with this one being so tall, because the Gamme 6, it isn't as tall as I am, so that would make it quite a bit easier to set up. But with this particular one, because the poles cross at the very top on the outside, it gets a little bit difficult. Yeah, let's just see here. Yeah, the Gamme 6 is only 6 feet tall. So this is officially 7'1", so this is 13 inches taller. I had a friend in here, and I think he's 6'4", 6'5", and he was pretty impressed with how tall this is because he didn't have to stoop at all. Now the tent also has, if you look at the doors, it's also got mosquito mesh, which I've put away in the, for the winter on both sides. So I said the inside's got these flaps, and the outside's also got these snow flaps all the way around. And it's got peg down points all the way around it. Even where there's a pole, it's also got it. And if you can see, I'm using the ice anchors. So that's an ice anchor. And I put them in with an electric drill. There you go. And to take it out, you can take it out quite easily by hand, but you can just reverse. There you go, it's that easy. So if you look at it, it's got 3 black poles and 2 red ones. Now if you look at the top, one of the black poles, the pouch that it goes in, the sleeve that it goes in is longer than the others. In fact, it's this one right here. So this is the first one that you set up. And then you put in the 2 red poles. You lower the roof slightly by taking the pole out of this little grommet. And then you feed in the 2 black poles, which is a little bit difficult by yourself. And also you've got these guy lines if it gets really windy. So what you do is when you do use them, you just wrap this part around the pole first, and you feed it out, and you put the guy lines down. This comes in 2 colors, the 8PC in this kind of tan, and it also comes in the green. Right now I've only got 4 ice anchors in, and I don't have the guy lines down, but I think later I'll put the other ones in. So in the winter time, because you got a stove or something, generally you'll only use 1 entrance. So this second entrance I'll keep completely closed. Now the stove jack is right there. Now being so tall, this tent, it's very difficult to peel back that flap when it is up. Even from the inside, if you want to properly tie it down so it's not in the way, it's difficult. So the thing to do is, before you set up the tent, put that flap back in the proper position so it doesn't get in the way of the stove pipe. So all the poles, they go into these plastic grommets, red on red, black on black. And there's all these little clips. And here, the clip is a bit different where the 2 poles go together. Same right there. And then where all 3 poles go together, there's a Velcro strap. Ooh, my fingers are getting cold. It's about minus 14 or 15 right now. So it's frosty. I'm planning on going to Killarney in maybe a couple weeks, just for a 2-nighter. And Killarney's open all year round, but in the winter time you park your car at the main office, at the George Lake office, and you pull a pulk or a sled in to your spot. And when I do that, I think I'm going to be bringing the buddy heater rather than my wood stove. So 2 nights with propane, I should probably be able to do that on one 11-pound cylinder. And I'll probably bring one as backup, keep it in the car just in case. You always got to give it a bit of time when you first open up the valve for the gas. Get all the way in. Look at the pilot light. There we go. And I got this little fan. It also works on a wood stove. Actually, according to this, it's about minus 10.5 outside Celsius, and well, it says it's minus 5.5 degrees inside, but I think it's slightly colder than that. So I'm going to see how long it's going to take to get to, let's say, 10 degrees. Well, it's been 7 minutes and the temperature's gone up to 4 degrees. So I've got it running on high, so what I'll do is I'll get it to temperature to about 10 degrees, and then I'll turn it on, put it down to medium, and see what temperature it'll maintain at. Oh, my fingertips are a little bit cold. So it's got all these mounting points for the inner tent, all the way around. And also on the bottom it's got these mounting points for the floor. And for the floor there's 2 orange and the rest are all black. And they correspond with the colors on the floor when you set it up. One thing I forgot to tell you about the polycotton, it's a lot more breathable than the normal than the normal fabric that they use. So there should be less condensation. So it's been 11 minutes and it's 10 degrees. So it's gone from -5 to +10 in 11 minutes at high. Let's turn it to medium. And let's see what temperature it'll maintain it at. Yeah, this big buddy heater, it's got 3 settings. Low, I believe, is 4,000 BTU. Medium is 9,000 BTU. And high is 18,000 BTU.